are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights.
Welcome to another episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. I'm your brother, O God, from Hip Hop News Uncensored, and sitting across from me is my co-host.
What it do? What's good? It's your brother Sam and Viral Hip Hop News. You are in a building with the best, baby. It is a Tuesday, and it's another edition of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. Oh God, what's good, my brother?
What up? What up, Sam? Man, we in the building once again. Tuesday edition of the Uncensored Truth Podcast, the most underrated podcast out there. But we in the building this week, fam, to just give y'all, the latest rundown of what's been going on, in the news, man. And just rap with the people a little bit, man. I just want to say before we get into anything, man, we appreciate each and every listener, no matter what platform you're listening on. Before we even get into the content, Sam, man, how you doing over there, man?
Man, I'm doing well, man. It's a Tuesday. We love coming over here on Tuesday and getting to work, man, getting our work week going after the Monday episode. Of course, obviously, everyone's still heart is heavy, obviously, from the passing of Nipsey Hussle. Time will always heal all wounds, and it's the only thing that will really heal wounds is time and being able to move on from situations as best you can. But we have latest development, so we're going to do our job. Yeah. And we got a lot to talk about, as well as some other things. A dynamic episode. Shout out to everyone listening on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, and all major online outlets. Right now, you're listening to the sounds of Riz, 609, and Conway the Machine. More Malcolm Les Martin. You can check him out in the description box. We salute to him. Yeah, man. What we got on the agenda this evening?
Yeah, man. Well, since we last talked about the Nipsey Hussle, being shot and killed the other day in L.A., before we came into the podcast today, we got word that the alleged shooter of Nipsey Hussle has been caught. Now they're saying that the LA County Sheriff's Department did put out a tweet pretty much announcing that Eric Holder was apprehended around 12:53 p.m. on the 900th block of Artista Boulevard. You see the video there. We got on the screen him, being searched, brought in to custody. Now we know yesterday the picture started to surface about, I think when we left the podcast, more so the picture came out of Holder, and they had to manhunt him with the girl, the car that they was in, and we knew probably within a 24 to 48 hour window that he would be captured. And I know for the family this is just one more step, and I mean in reference to the Nipsey Hussle family, this is one more step closer to justice. For them, obviously, the longer it would have went on with him not being captured, it'll just been more. So hopefully, they can get him in and bring this guy to justice if this is indeed who the shooter was. It does look like it is that guy.
Well, we talked yesterday, and we talked about the number of surveillance cameras that they have throughout Los Angeles, in particular in the shopping area where Nipsey Hussle did business, the Marathon store where he was at, where he unfortunately got murdered. And just someone had to find him. The police had to find him within that 24 to 48 hour period, just based off of the amount of surveillance that they had out there. Mm-hmm. Now, it is alleged right now, but it is more than likely him being the suspect based off of the camera evidence and things like that. And like you said, it's a one step to closure for the family, but it's still so fresh, and it doesn't justify it at all. It's really disgusting. Like we were talking about in the pre-production, when you really think about it, it doesn't matter what scenario you could possibly throw out there outside of him putting threat to your family or harming your family that you could justify something like this. It really doesn't justify it, and it's sad. And you still hear the conspiracy theories, which I think are a bit immature now at this point. We can talk about that a little bit if you want. Mm-hmm. But it's a real unfortunate situation. We can dive into this a number of different ways.
Well, the conspiracies, when I hear that the family is, furious that people are even entertaining that with the Dr. Sebi, which I think is a little, outlandish. Obviously, what we see now is what they're saying. It was they had a disagreement. They're saying that he, had an altercation. They're saying that the dude was allegedly a snitch. He was a police informant. Nipsey told him to leave the area. He came back with the gun. From the footage, we could tell he started shooting, people, there. So very, very unfortunate, because like you said, there's no justification for whatever happened in this situation. Whatever the dispute was over, for you to take a man's life like that, a man that was giving back, to the community, boots on the ground for real, caught in a very uncompromised position, man. It's rough, man, because when you, and I just recently, probably in the last year, really started coming on to Nipsey because we started to see him, more so. But the Culture Vulture, he hooked up with Kenyatta and Dame, and we was, rocking out with them for a minute there, and we kind of just was introduced to him because a lot of times on the East Coast we don't really connect with a lot of the West Coast guys, but he seemed to bridge that gap. Started listening to his music, and it's almost like definitely we could compare him to Pac. You know what I mean? Prophetic. You talk about Victory Lap, the stuff that he's talking about in his music right now, I think, man, is it's just an amazing dude, man, and definitely sad, very, very sad. Like, not even lying, not even, a lot of people just get on here, really, shed a tear for this dude, man. I ain't gonna front.
This is genuine, and it's his home. It's his home on a personal level, and not that we know Nipsey Hussle personally, because we don't, but this just hits home. We can relate to situations like this where violence unjustly happens, where somebody picks up a weapon or a gun and takes somebody's life for no fucking reason. It's terrible. And when you see somebody like a Nipsey Hussle out here changing his life and doing good for his people, schooling his people, and him being wise beyond his years, because even in his younger interviews, as much as he was probably wild and running around doing this thing, he was still talking about buying in real estate, things we're talking about in our mid-30s. He was still talking about empowering his people and taking care and investing, as opposed to going out here and showboat and putting value into things that depreciate, not appreciating value. So very wise beyond his years. These aren't the type of dudes that you take out, no matter what the justification is very unfortunate. I want to switch gears a little bit in the conversation and talk about one of the angles that we've been hearing often, and it's the black on black crime angle. Yeah. And a lot of people are out here, they're very outspoken in saying we have to stop killing each other. We have to stop doing this, which I agree with. But there's also a little bit of a narrative being steered and a little bit of a glamorization, dare I say, amongst us, when it comes to quote unquote black on black crime. Oh God, what's your thought on that, man?
Yeah, man, when we talked about that and we kind of briefly got into it yesterday, you got to go back and do your history and just look at, it was a time, obviously, when we were in America, where we were amongst each other, thriving in the black on black. Obviously, people that live amongst each other are more likely to kill each other, but the rate wasn't as high as it is right now. And it goes back to, lack of opportunities, lack of jobs, being put in these environments where anybody, even in this country, even further back in the 20s and 30s, and even up into the 40s a little bit, immigrants were coming over from different European countries and whatnot, and they found themselves in the same conditions, and their murder rates were high. They were killing each other. Where do you think you get the mobster movies from and all that, and these people killing each other and these different things, you know what I mean? So it's not race specific. It just so happens right now that we have been through, and they're not making any excuse, this is just facts, we have been through some of the worst atrocities. We have not been able to recover. We talk about coming up from segregation, and then when there's a direct correlation between black on black crime, influx of drugs, HIV, poverty, all these things start to spike when you see the ghettos and stuff, and the black people starting to go down the economic ladder. So when people say, oh, they got to just stop, newsflash, it ain't going to stop until there's more, opportunities, until there's better education, to people are making better decisions. And that goes back to the education, the food that we eat. It goes back to the way we taught, the culture and everything. Hip hop is a deaf culture. All these guys on the internet, all these rappers, some of them fake, some of them real, they all promote that shit. They all promote what happened to Nipsey Hussle. Oh, you disrespect me, I shoot your ass, I kill your ass. Oh, you do this, I take your girl. Most of them cats promoted that shit and got rich doing that shit. That's what they promote.
So are they hypocrites in saying rest in peace Nipsey now? Or
some of them are, man. Some of them are. Now, I'm not saying a guy can't change his life around. Everybody has that right, you know what I mean, to go through and change his life around. But we know, damn well that a lot of these guys promoted that, man. And it seems like we talk about somebody being killed, but on the other hand, you got rappers that promote the drug use, people being killed like that too, ODing all day long, people promoting that in these industries. We were just talking about Lior and him talking about, what the type of stuff that's being promoted, and we hear the music. So it's just like art imitating life, life imitating art. It's wrong. Wrong is wrong. That's all I can see. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's my thing on the whole black on black crime, right, and how it's glamorized out here amongst us, because you don't see or white people saying when you see a murderer or serial killer going in and killing a white suburban family or anything wild like that, or the husband, or whatever scenario you see, you don't hear them saying we got to stop white on white crime, or you don't hear Asians saying we got to stop Asian on Asian crime. It's not as glamorized and as publicized as it is toward black people. And when it comes to even the media and how what you see on the news, all they really do is report on inner city confrontation, conflicts to kind of give you and paint you the picture of, this is what's going on a day-to-day basis. When you look at it, this is going on everywhere in the world. We don't dominate when it comes to numbers out here. We're not the highest statistically when it comes to murder rates. We're not. It's just when you look at the numbers, we're not. But we're the only ones that you see killing amongst each other. And when you even look at ghettos and how they were systematically set up, and the experiments that they did back in those days, and then how the rise of the drug age and things like that, and when we started getting put in these boxes, how were we going to react to something like you said? The fuck do you expect? What really do you expect? We can talk, and we got to love each other more. I agree 100% with all of that. I'm not sitting here making an excuse like, oh, God said he's not making an excuse, but it's over glamorized, and we got to pay attention to that too, not get too caught up in the hype.
Yeah. And all I can say once again, man, is just look at Nipsey, as a shining example of what, us as black men, should aspire to be. That's all I can speak for. That's what we are. You know what I mean? It's aspired to be, ownership, owning your own businesses. I mean, Nipsey, was so brilliant to even drop 7 money and ownership lessons of Nipsey Hussle. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go through all of them, but it is up on the Instagram page. You know what I mean? But, he talks about creating value, real estate. You talked about him, buying back a store that they used to keep him out of, coming up. So he did it. He did it systematically. He did it the right way. He did it on his own. Look at Nipsey as an example of what we should aspire to be like, and still go back into our communities, because we were having this conversation yesterday. And we were talking about, should we go back? Yeah. You know what I mean? To the communities. And I saw a lot of people in the comments, because they heard our conversation that I posted. And it was like, yeah, stupid, his family wasn't there. And I never said that. But all we were saying is that, not that his family was living in that area, but it's just when you're in that area amongst them people, that you have to take the proper precaution around those people, because you never know what can happen. And obviously, we see that it ended bad for a lot of people.
Oh, God, that's a 50-50 conversation, the way you look at it. People they could say you stupid all you want for wanting to leave, but then people tell you that you got to leave. This is why you have to leave. So it just goes hand in hand. Like I said yesterday, it's really a double-edged sword. I can understand both ways. You can wish one thing could happen or this scenario happened, but at the end of the day, Nipsey Hussle's gone. Unfortunately, we don't have the answers why, and it's real unfortunate. But Jay Prince has something to say on Instagram. It's a great segue into even staying in your hood, in your neighborhood. It's kind of lengthy, so bear with me, but here we go. LA, stand up. Nipsey's gone right now, and no one can bring him back to life. I saw a lot of myself in Nipsey, that love to give back to the hood, and brothers like us know that there's a possibility that we could get killed in the hood every time we enter. In spite of knowing that our love for the hood is stronger than fear or death, because we are built differently than most. Since many are actually discouraging going back to the hood after reaching levels of quote unquote success, to give back by opening businesses, creating income and opportunities, and being present. Understand that those are the people who don't understand our mentality, especially those who've abandoned the hood. I won't take this opportunity to criticize his works and efforts he puts into his community, because I knew this brother's spirit. We had many conversations and inspired one another. The truth of the matter is, this shouldn't have never happened like this. We have to put a wall of protection around our loved ones to prevent clowns from having access to harm them without serious consequences. In other words, this clown should have been DOA. It's time for Crips, Bloods, community activists, all the gangs and regular civilians to come together on one accord and send a message to these clowns that there's nowhere to hide for the violation of taking our loved one Nipsey and the other for senseless murders. So therefore, anybody who's harboring this clown is in violation. Nipsey started a great work, and I would hope the homies in the hoods of LA are not discouraged for giving back and creating opportunities in their communities because of these clowns. In closing, let's just deal with the clowns. There's power in numbers. What's a great time to deal with the enemies. I send my condolences to the family and friends around the world. RIP, homie. What's your thoughts on that, Oga?
I definitely, can agree. And, I can agree, all I'm saying is like, definitely go back, definitely go help, just take the proper precautions, when you go back into that environment. Other than that, I agree with everything, that he's saying. And I get the part where it's like we can be at a football game and we know in this area, somebody got shot at a football game, a practice, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, you could be anywhere and things can go down, things can happen. But I understand the part where you say your love is, love for the hood and your community is more than any fear. We get that. But now I think that people need to look at this situation like it could have been them. It could have been their family member. And I'm talking about obviously high profile, people, but even regular people in general, obviously still need to take precaution. But let's say your people, your industry people, your musicians, your athletes, they need to take the precaution to have them security and be willing to shoot it out or die, in the process of saving their life, because you have people out here who are looking to get you at any moment. They may want to get your chain. We look at XXX, the way he got shot. They was trying to get the money. Mm-hmm. Sean Taylor. And rest, they was trying to break in his house yesterday. And probably get, happy belated, definitely. Mm-hmm. They was probably trying to get a $10,000-$15,000 out of his crib or something like that. Senseless acts of violence that continue to go on in our community, man. It's just real sad, man, at the end of the day. Real sad, bro. Yeah,
indeed. And I think that Jay Prince, what he's doing now, because we've seen him getting very vocal when it comes to social media. And like I alluded to in the conversation we had about him and my man Almighty Jay's chain.
Yeah.
And the reasoning and why he may be coming out, I'm thinking he's saying that this is how to speak to the new age. This is how to speak to the kids. And this is the way to communicate. Now, he still does, it seems, walk and talk under a old book and an old school way of thinking, which we honor. And this is the code that we grew up on. Mm-hmm. It's a whole different age, whole different ways. So I'm sure people are going to cut this up and screw it up all kind of different ways and take what he's saying right now out of context. But he's saying some real things. And I don't think by any stretch of the imagination, based off the conversation that we had yesterday, should anybody think that you were talking about running out of the hood, because we talk on private conversations on numerous occasions about what we're going to do right here within our neighborhoods and what we're going to do within in certain areas of where we live right now that need help, things that we pride ourselves on. So we understand the value of planting a seed, watching it grow, and then replanting it. This is what the values that we grew up on. But you also have to understand, when you grow up in areas where people just do not want to see you succeed because they want to continue to watch you be at the bottom like they are. And once you do succeed and you do give back and you get the love and admiration of the people, and they see that, some people are just envious of this shit. Right. And for reason out of your control, they want what you got. And if they can't have it, they're going to take it away from you. And this ultimately, unfortunately, happens where you rest at, where you sleep, where you grew up at, the people that knew you the most. And this is where we see some of these unfortunate occurrences happening, because they're so comfortable in their atmosphere. They're so comfortable in their environment where somebody can walk up on an unsuspecting situation and click somebody's life out with a snap of a finger. It's crazy.
What do you see happening from here, with Eric Holder? What do you believe this should happen next? What's your view on that as far as somebody taking somebody's life? What do you feel should happen to that? We obviously on YouTube and whatnot. I may not post this exact part, but
right, yeah. When it comes to let's see, we talk about this often. We don't condone anybody going to jail, blah 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 blah. But murder, somebody taking somebody's life unjustly.
Yeah.
I'm with the eye for an eye mentality.
Yeah.
Only God can judge, but I'm for the eye for an eye mentality when it comes to that, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. I could definitely, agree, with that 100%. There's no coming back from that. You know what I mean? If somebody's wants to go that route, then they should be able to deal with that themselves.
Go down with the ship.
Yeah. That's all I can pretty much, say on that. But dope. I like the way that Jay Prince is approaching, this, because you got responsible outlets like us who are gonna, put up what he said, read the whole thing in its entirety, and just give honest, perspective, on what he said, and just sift through it. And I think it's 100%, accurate. And now for Jay Prince, obviously we know that he's a guy. I don't know everywhere that he goes, but I know most places that he's heavily, secured and armed, no matter where you're at. It's just a precaution that has to be taken when you're rich, when you're famous, and people know, what I mean, who you are. You have to do it. I say this, and man, and then I'll let you go right after this. Yeah. And like I said in the pre-production, it's like, if you got the means to protect yourself, do it.
You got to. And you got to start. If you're going to move like a businessman, if you're going to move like someone, like a political figure, whether you're in politics or not, got to protect yourself like it. Because first off, you're way too valuable to the people around you. You're way too valuable to your family. You're too valuable to allow a situation to happen where you're caught off guard. And I'm not saying this is what happened here. I'm just saying let's learn from this and understand that if you're going to put yourself in a position where, all right, I'm about to take this block over. We're about to change this. We're about to change this. Now put in the back of your head, okay, I may have some potential backlash with this. Let me start really moving like a boss and having people around me that can justly take care of a situation. And you don't need somebody out here. And when you said yesterday, if he had somebody holding, they go ahead and shoot and we take care of business. And I was kind of hesitant in that because I don't want somebody just to go out here and randomly start having gunfire in the middle of a parking lot and people get hurt that don't need to be getting hurt. But when you lose a life, when Nipsey Hussle's life is ultimately gone because he wasn't having the proper protection around him, this is why it's so important to get them the proper training. If you got the money to be a boss, take care of your people and make sure they get tactical training, make sure they get everything so that when something goes down, they seeing it a mile away. And if they do got to pull out, they taking care of the target and the target only, and no one else gets hurt.
And then, Dave East was kind of, speaking to that a little bit. And he was just kind of saying, like, it's one of those situations where he was just cooling. You know what I mean? It was his store. Yeah, man. You're in a parking lot. You know everybody. It's your neighborhood. It's almost like, you may be in, P-ville or somewhere, or A Carver, and you just chilling, you coming out the store, and that's the last thing, he was probably expecting. But again, the people that are alive and breathing now, that are the stature of Nipsey and more, you got to take the precaution because we don't want to be, having a headline or something, about you, because there's always could be that just one person or two people out there who are going to be jealous, envious haters who you never know. You might have said something to them one day because, get out of here, you a snitch. How's that turn into come back and killing somebody? You say something to somebody, and say, you know what I mean? So it's just like, you never know, man, at the end of the day. It's just sad. And, we'll see, developments there. Supposedly they caught Eric Holder, who's the alleged shooter at this point of Nipsey Hussle. And we'll see what comes out after this, whether he speaks or anything, whether he says why, what happened, we'll see. We know the woman that was, I think it was her vehicle. That was, she was the driver of the getaway car, said that she didn't even know that, he was going to go shoot him, So obviously we expect that, but she may have an alibi, obviously. Yeah,
we don't want to over speculate or put guilt or innocence on her before really knowing the situation. But when you think about a real situation, it's like, okay, if she is innocent, then she's innocent. But if there's phone records, they're gonna pull those. There's gonna be different kind of things and avenues that they're gonna go through to make sure her alibi sticks. And if it doesn't, then she's a conspirator to murder, and she'll get her just due too. If she's not, then damn, what a fucked up situation to be caught up in. Her life could have been in danger. Who knows? But we're not going to over speculate right now. That'll be out real soon.
Yeah, definitely. Probably within now. As soon as we leave here, probably. Real soon. I'm just like yesterday, as soon as we left. But yeah, man, you tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Old God, and Sam Ant over there from Viral Hip Hop News, man. We're going in today. If you're listening on YouTube, I need you to do me a favor. Go ahead, hit the like button and make sure that you go ahead and share this video. I want to talk about Usher real quick. Now he's been putting snippets up on Instagram and whatnot. In the studio with Jermaine Dupri, getting ready to it looks like release C2 Confessions 2. And I was like, how you feel about that? Sam, man, I'm pretty excited about, even though it was a long time ago, how do you feel about that though, man? The little snippet that I heard sound pretty dope. I think the first one, they went like diamond with that. That was like a huge success.
Confessions was one of the greatest R&B albums of all time when it comes to single artists. 8701 was the album before that, which was another classic. Usher had a couple albums in the run that was spectacular. Yeah, and deserves to be up there in the Mount Rushmore of R&B artists when it comes to that. Very talented. Hard to Love, his last album was real dope. Had a great album. I'm a little nervous about this Confessions too, though. Oh God, I ain't gonna lie to you. There's a lot of shit that's been getting talked about Usher nowadays, and I don't know what this brother's fitting to confess. And I like Usher too much. I don't know.
Usher's one of the greatest.
Yeah, but do you want to hear everything he fitting to confess?
Nah, I don't. I mean, it'll be the time for him. I ain't even gonna go down that road.
Why not? I mean,
I haven't heard. What's the rumor, Sam? Man, let us know. I haven't heard.
We talking. Man. You was at that motherfucking Comfort Inn back a couple years back, talking to the manager of the dude.
But what that was about a lady, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah, but then the other news came out.
Oh man,
other allegations. I don't know. I'm not putting that on, brother. I don't know what he's confessing.
I mean, that's Usher's business and whatnot. But
he about to give it to us.
I mean, I don't think so. I think it's maybe a woman or something. He probably cheated again, like he did with the first time.
Man, that ain't confession. That's some real shit, Usher.
Man, that's the waking
title that joint, real shit.
Right, but I definitely want to hear it, man. Like you said, man, Usher, Trey Songz, Chris Brown, You know what I mean? Probably like three, favorites, who I go back and forth listening to their music, man. And, because we come up listening to that. We seen Chris Brown when he first started, Trey, obviously, Usher when we was younger and whatnot. So I like to hear their music, man. I think that they're three of the best top guys in the game right now. So I want to hear what he got to say, man.
Is it because of the lack of R&B artists and the lack of just real good R&B that you kind of really, when you see a Usher come out or a Trey song is rumored or Chris Brown and put them three out there that you get kind of excited, or is it just? But I mean,
because they put out good, because every so often, maybe not every time, but that he gonna have it in him. Like you said, Usher has classics, the 8701, Confessions, Blase. Chris Brown got classics, Trey song got classics, Ready and whatnot. That at any time this guy can drop a classic, and this might be the one. He's back with Jermaine Dupri. The last time they got together, they made, a masterpiece, and from what I heard, it was kind of like, you kind of want this, not the same sound, but you wanted to kind of mimic it a little bit to get that vibe. And I think I got that vibe from that little clip. So it
has to be genuine R&B. I don't want Usher to try to be doing none of this new shit. I don't want to hear him having too much auto-tune. I don't want to hear none of that. Right. Go out here and do your thing and sing. Now, the beats could be this in 2019. We can upgrade the production. And I think Jermaine Dupri does a great job at evolving with the times. And it's funny because I know Jermaine Dupri from doing my time at Brigada. I've had him on Security Details numerous times. We had great conversation. Would love to have him on the podcast, but I don't have his personal information. But we are working and working on that. Right. But him getting with Jermaine Dupri is definitely is great. We all seen what he did on Usher's albums in the beginning when he was with So Def, and we seen what he did with Confessions, and this should be no different. And all joking aside, when I'm saying Confessions and all that, I would love a great body of work. I think it is needed out here. I think a lot of the young R&B artists and the aspiring R&B artists coming up need to follow the blueprint of the old. Pay attention to a dude like Bruno Mars, who's out here killing it with the old doo-wop shit and making it new, and the old 80s and early 90s sound and killing the game. People have a thirst for that. So you bringing back old classic R&B sounds and the genuine sound that it is R&B, you bringing that back, man, you won't sound dated. It's a breath of fresh air. So just kind of stick to that blueprint with today's production and go to work, man, because it's needed. Yeah, we can't definitely, we'll definitely be lined up to definitely listen to that, because I'm always in the mood to listen to some good R&B, man. It's so scarce right now. But yeah, man, you're tuned into the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother Old God and Sam Matt. Now, Sam Matt, you were telling me that Birdman made a statement about Weezy's album, Sam Matt. Yeah, let me pull this up real quick. So Birdman was talking with Juvenile. I think they were on your boy Ebro's show. And he was talking about the Carter 4. Carter 4 or Carter 5? Carter 5. Yeah. Carter 5. Now, we both were very excited about the Carter 5 release and been excited for years. When it first came out, we talked about it on here, gave it great reviews. I said it could have been better, even though people were on me about Wayne. Was very interested to see what Birdman had to say. Here's what he said. I'm a Wayne fan anyway, bruh. So it's me. It's Wayne, bruh. Like he said, it's music that he's been had. So I'm not objective to that. But I think it could have been better, if he hadn't put newer songs, because the man got 1 billion songs. What do you think about that? Is that a jab at him? Is that real talk? I think it's just real talk. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's critique. You know what I mean? Because obviously he was with him, so he knows. That's like, me hearing your song from 2008 and you put an album out. You know what I mean? And, probably something, obviously if they was together, it wouldn't have happened, but he would have never said it either. But, yeah, man, I think it's just, people are going to take it that way. Obviously it could have been better, but Birdman knows too much. He was with him. He knows the song I think it was a good body of work myself. What do you think about that, though? I think it was a good body of work. I 100% agree with Birdman. We don't really do that often, but I agree. And that's not a jab. And I don't think that he was throwing a jab. And people are going to see how we title this, and they're going to see how we talk, and they're going to automatically assume that we're throwing out there that Birdman is throwing jabs at Wayne. Nah, that's how we title it, and that's how we're going to work. Right. But I think this was genuine, honest, heartfelt critique. I agree with him. He didn't say that the album was garbage. I didn't say the album was garbage. He didn't say that the album was that lacked on a par of Wayne. He just said that he heard or he knew a lot of the older stuff was on it. He's had this album for years. It's been rumored to be out for years. He didn't put anything new on there or anything fresh, and you can hear that. You knew this was a lot of old Wayne stuff. You can kind of hear it, and you can identify with it. Right. And Wayne can still spit. Wayne still got talent. It looks like Wayne still has love for the art of rapping and doing this thing, even though I was one of the people that said he was done, like Pusha T said, and he ain't had a love for it no more. Another rapper trapped that can't retire. He was just hurt.
Right.
And man, I just wish that he would have put out a little more fresh material, like Birdman said. But I don't think that Birdman is throwing a jab.
I mean, he had his time, man. It's hard to stay on top forever. He's been on top for a long time. He had a long run.
So you saying that he don't got enough material out here to continue and sustain a run when we see Jay-Z and other people like that? And he ain't nowhere near Jay-Z's age. He still got time.
No, I'm just saying sometimes people get to cold spots in their career. He might be at that spot, even though it was a Carter, and maybe people think it didn't, reach expectation or where it could have been. But like I said, it's hard to stay on top forever on everything. Not a Jay-Z. Even he had some questionable bodies of work where people like that just wasn't as good as
shit.
You know what I mean? I think so. I mean, we got to have that conversation one time and go through the Jay-Z classics.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But he had some of them where weren't as good as the other ones. I wouldn't call them flops, but I don't think they were as good as the other ones.
Oh God, would you put Lil Wayne and Eminem in the same bracket right now? Because Eminem was once recognized as one of the nastiest spitters MCs out here, and the title was there. No one could touch it. No one dare say his name. Mm-hmm. And then the last couple of albums kind of proved his mortality and proved that, okay, he seems like he has something to prove too, because now he's here. And Lil Wayne is kind of, now you saying that everyone has their run and maybe this isn't his run, although he's still spitting. So would you put them in the same kind of realm right now with being great rappers, but seemingly kind of sitting here where you've seen other rappers ascend? And if so, should there be a different lane for them? Because we consider them two some of the best.
Yeah. I think they just, again, man, people are going to judge them from that full body of work, you know what I mean, at the end of the day. So yeah, you could put them in the same, categories. I mean, people lose inspirations, they go to other things, sometimes they fall back. I would say Weezy had about a good 10 to 15 year run, at least a good 10 year where he was like that
all
dude.
Of 2010.
That's what I'm saying. It was like, so he was that dude. I mean, like everything, he was the hottest. Drake came out, Nicki, like all these people. So his tree is so big, you know what I'm saying? Of people that, and even like the people who bite his shit, you know what I mean? And we all know their names, out there. It's like the game just got so flooded with it that he might have just wasn't able to compete in that no more because it was just too many.
You know what I would say about Lil Wayne, and this is genuine from my heart. He has the ability to put out one of the greatest albums of all time and easily the album of the year whenever he decides to drop it. If we hear about Lil Wayne, if we hear how he feels about this, if we hear how he feels about that, if he gives us a lot more than just the bars and the wordplay and the flow that we grew in love. But one of the criticisms that I give Lil Wayne in recent conversation is that he's not giving us him. He's not evolving like you've seen a Jay-Z do or your other rappers kind of evolve and do. And if he decided to do that, and only he can decide, but if he decided to put out an album where we just hearing some other shit like, whoa, and I'm not saying go 100% conscious and go that route. You ain't got to do all that shit either. Put some of the Wayne classic shit on there too. But if you really just gave us an album like that, damn, it'd be hard to follow that up and hard for that not to be the album of the year and his greatest of all time. And he still has it in him.
Yeah, well, it remains to be seen, man. Still a young guy relatively for hip hop. You know what I mean? Still got a lot of time and music in front of him. So we're going to see, man. Like I said, these guys going to be judged, you know what I mean, by that whole body of work. So,
Facts.
You know what I mean? Definitely. But yeah, man, the Uncensored Truth podcast with your brother, Oh God, and Sam, man. If you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, or even YouTube, all we ask you to do is to share this video or audio with at least one other person, a family member, text it to them or share it on your Facebook timeline. We do appreciate that if you could do that, man. Definitely.
Indeed. Speaking of R&B singers, Ray J.
Yeah.
Man, Ray J is doing his thing, all jokes aside, and we've been having a lot of negative talk as of late, but this is something very positive. We've been talking about Ray J a couple of weeks now as of late, just the things and entrepreneurship that he's been moving and doing, and we've been meaning to talk about him, but we've been busy. You know what I mean? He's been very busy and very productive on the podcast, but I wanted to bring this up in particular today because he dropped this on his Instagram saying, God is great all the time, as you guys can see right there. Let me break this down. The upfront money for Scoot e-bike is not the big play. That's just the recoup of what I already spent. Having 19 million shares in the new deal with Loopshare and raising more capital to grow the new company is the most important thing. I wanted to make sure we stay ahead of the game in the bike sharing industry, building both brands together with the best engineers and a really smart team gets me closer to $1 billion play in the long run. Things don't happen overnight. We still have a long way to go. I'm starting this thing from the ground up. Much respect to Uber, Lyft, and the big companies for paving the way for new companies like us. Stocks available now. USA stock symbol LPPF, CAD stock symbol Loop. Man, Ray J is doing big things. This Ray Scoot e-bike brand, first introduced in 2018, has been reportedly sold to a Canadian company called Loopshare for $7 million, with a whopping 19 million shares in the company and a spot as a consultant in the business. Oh, God. Man, this is what the fuck we're talking about, man. But what's your thoughts on this, Big Dog?
Yeah, man. I think when I seen Ray J the last Breakfast Club interview, I think he, took that proverbial step, you know what I mean, into his, I'll say, mogulhood. I'm impressed, man. I'm excited, for what he's got going on. Not only with that, but with the headphones, the Raycon, I think it is.
You're about to grab me a pattern, man.
Yeah, he's really, making some real moves to move himself into the $100 million and even $1 billion mark, man. All I can say is, I salute you. Excited about it, and hopefully one day that we can follow in those steps. I mean, like, now you look at the new way of business. We look at Lyft, going public, with their stocks, and your Ubers and all these companies now. Google, YouTube now is just different now. Different types of companies are now being birthed, and it allows other companies to come underneath it. So, man, where there's a will, there's a way, man. Create an opportunity, man.
Facts.
That's all.
And let me tell you how inspiring this shit is to me, because when I looked at Ray J and after his music, because Ray J can sing, and anybody gonna hold you. Him and Brandy got a hell of a talent.
Yeah.
But after that kind of fell, and he went into the social media game, and he went into what's that shit? The reality TV game.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, damn. It was, where's he gonna go? Is he gonna stick in this realm right here and seemingly sell his soul for this and the entertainment? And you start to see the transition, like you said, and the evolution, and him graduating to becoming a mogul and an inspiration to young entrepreneurs, black entrepreneurs, to go out here and do for self and be able to break big deals just off of the strength of your will, your determination, and your great ideas. Very inspirational. I can't wait or hope to have him on here to talk about that process, man, because that's what he's doing right now. Needs to be talked about, needs to be bragged about more. You don't hear too many people talking about it. You see your various outlets out here showing him love and showing him support, and he deserves it. Man, salute to Ray J. This is what the kind of positivity we need. You're talking about buying in shares and stuff. That's more that I would like to know about.
Yeah.
Investing and throwing your money into different areas. Can't wait to have Kansu on again to kind of talk about stocks and shares and the importance of that, because that's a conversation I want to start beginning to have. And man, salute to the entrepreneurs out here. Keep winning.
Yeah, man. Definitely. We definitely appreciate, that story right there, on the back end. But that's actually going to do it for this episode of the Uncensored Truth Podcast. We hope that everyone enjoyed, the commentary that we did today. Just, peruse through the archives. Look, we got a lot of shows. We upload about 4 to 5 shows, per week. So, we're going to keep doing what we do over here, man. And once again, your boy O-God from Hip Hop News Uncensored. I definitely appreciate you if you never hear me say that.
Indeed, O-God. And I'm not trying to be cocky right now, but what other podcast right now for the people listening on the 12 o'clock hour before we shut down gives you 4 to 5 episodes a week of nonstop content? If you got one, you let us know outside of the Uncensored Truth Podcast, because what we do is we pride ourselves in giving you nonstop work, outworking the competition, and giving you the best quality content. You can also make sure to stay tuned for the Wake and Bake podcast.
Yeah.
We told you it was coming this month. God damn it. That's what we're bringing to you this month. The Wake and Bake podcast, a different transition to this right here. The Uncensored Truth Podcast will be reacting to different Instagram videos, going against the grain, relationships. Man, we're about to get it in. So I can't wait for that. Appreciate each and every one of y'all support on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play.
Yeah.
Got a day off tomorrow. Y'all enjoy your day. Be blessed. We'll see you Thursday.
Yes, sir. Yeah, have a good one.
We out of here.
Peace.
Don't ever question if I got the heart. Blank City niggas gamble with your life. Hopping out the Lex, I felt like Malcolm X. Marching with the shooters like Martin Luther. 40 cal SK or the fucking Ruger. Don't ever question if I got the heart to shoot you.
When will you be satisfied? We can never be satisfied as long as the Negro is the victim of the unspeakable horror of police
They say
brutality.
Machine only rap about how he got shot and how he shoot niggas. That's because I got shot and I shoot niggas. You rather I rap about some shit I don't do, nigga, so I can be like one of these new niggas. In this rap shit, I only respect a few niggas. Everybody else is middle finger to you, nigga. These niggas, Peace to Chef and Ghost and all my woo niggas. Shooter came through the shortcut and hit 2 niggas.